Starlight, star bright. I'm thrilled to hear my story tonight.
Did video kill the network?
Hi, I'm Kimberly, and I'm going to tell you about the real reason that VHS became Betamax.
What do all of these stories have to do with video? Find out in this week's episode of History Bluffs. Hello and welcome to another episode of History Bluffs. It's where truth is stranger than fiction. And now I want to welcome to the show, it's your host, it's Chris! That's Gina. No, that's Chris!
That's me. Hello. I am indeed Chris. Thank you so much for having me. We are History Bluffs. So glad you could join us for another episode of this fascinating show where the truth sometimes is stranger than fiction.
It's
welcome. Adam, the tech, everyone give it up for Adam, our tech extraordinaire.
Hey, I'm here. Thank you. Here to support. Glad to be here. Thank you,
Adam. We'll get to introducing and meeting our historians in 1 second, but our topic, as Adam mentioned this week, is video, Adam, before we meet the historians, would you mind giving us the card with the rules of the show? Can I explain how everything works for the show?
Absolutely. It's a game show after all. Let's see the rules. For those of you watching, there they are. For those of you listening, Chris will explain them.
Here they are explained. So we have three armchair historians inspired by the word video. That is the topic of this week. So three of them are going to tell us stories in 3 rounds. 2 of the stories are going to be truthful, factual stories, and 1 of the stories is going to be a bluff. Their premise, exactly. The bluff premise is going to be false. It's going to be fictional. They may have some snippets of truth included. It could be some, including some true actual people. It could be true locations. But the overall premise of their story is a bluff. And we ask the audience not to help along. Please do not use any search engine to debunk a story if you are skeptical. Do not help prove a story if you're confident that one's a true story. We will ask you to save those kinds of comments until the very end when we actually get into determining who we think is the bluff for this week. And I don't even know who the bluff is. We have 3 historians, 3 stories, and the only one who knows who the bluff is Adam. Adam, do you know who the bluff is?
Yes, I do. I will not tell anyone until the end of the show.
All right. And that is what we ask, and he will let us know at the end of the show, reveal who the bluff is. But Adam, one of the things that I find interesting, especially about this topic this week, topic is video, right? And here we are on camera doing a recorded show. And that aspect of the phrase recorded has kind of changed a lot. They used to say, let's get this on film.
Right.
And then it was, let's go to the videotape. And now, now things are recorded. But what's coming back is, let's get that on film. It's coming back.
It's coming back? Is film making a comeback?
Film is making a comeback, or at least the phrase of film is making a comeback. The actual film itself as an entity, I'm not sure if they still use it anymore, but some places do. But the phrase "let's get it on film" is actually making a comeback.
Is this because of the TikToks?
It very well could be. It could be.
I don't know.
It would make sense if it is, because those are like 15 seconds long, and they probably don't have that much film left, so they could do those 15-second things on film and get it on there. But
that's probably how it started.
Yeah.
Sorry, Adam, you go.
No, I was just going to say, I bet Charlie Chaplin did his own fair share of 15-second films. I'm just saying.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
If you cut them up.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Okay, yeah, all right.
He cut up a lot, Gina. He cut up a lot. So, speaking of Gina, let's meet our historians. Let's bring them out without further ado. And I'll start at the top of my screen. I see Gina first. So, Gina, please, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you back here on another episode of History Bluffs. Gina, what, our topic this week is video. The three of you all have intriguing stories to share with us and regale us with your details. But Gina, what is your favorite thing that you have on video? A favorite memory that you have on video?
I don't think we can talk about that.
Okay.
But moving to the second favorite thing, I can do. Let's see. Oh, you know what my favorite thing actually is? It okay if it's not on film? If it's just recorded?
Of course. It's just
okay. My best friend and I. Hi Angie. When we were like 9 or 10 years old, we would, because this is back in the day. You got to remember, you millennials and all you other people. Back in the day, when a song came on the radio, it came on the radio if you didn't have the album, and you could record it. But they didn't, you couldn't look up lyrics online or whatever. So what my friend and I would do is we would record songs, and we would write down all the lyrics. We'd write down a lyric, pause it, and then keep on. What did that say? Oh, I don't know. Because they didn't have it online unless it was like Pink Floyd or something who put it on their album. And so we did. So what we did is we would write the words down, and then we had this microphone, an old timey microphone, and we plug it in and record, and we would just record duets all the time. So I have those recordings. They're the most hilarious thing. My favorite one is us doing Islands in the Stream. I was Kenny Rogers, and it was it's so ridiculously loud and bad and great.
That's why they invented video recorders, really.
It was actually just a recorder. We just recorded it, and if you listen to them, they're just hilarious. It's so bad but funny.
So you were doing karaoke before you knew what karaoke was?
Yeah, the bad karaoke.
Oh, well, thank you, Gina. Our second historian is Chelsea. Hello, Chelsea. Welcome back to the show.
There she is.
Chelsea, good to see you again, my friend. Chelsea, what is a favorite memory of yours that you have on video that is shareable with the audience, please?
My favorite is very shareable. It was actually on film as well. And it is me really, really young singing and dancing to Michael Jackson when I was probably, 4 or 5 years old. And then another where I'm mimicking playing a little kitty keyboard singing Crocodile Rock.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I need to digitize those.
Oh man.
And then I'll digitize mine, and then we'll just have a bad karaoke night.
That's perfect.
Please.
That's perfect.
We can invent bad dancing to it.
Okay. Well, that's actually called TikTok.
The TikTok. There they are.
And our third historian, please welcome to the show, Kimberly. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello.
Hello, my friend. Kimberly, how about you? I'm going to throw that same question to you. What is a favorite memory that you have on video?
I think the favorite, I did a horror hosting thing with a friend of mine who has since passed, and we did a series of silly, spooky movies, and we'd get to do sketches, and it's pretty cool. I still have the memories of him and the spooky movie together, so it was like a recording of comments of another recording, so it was recordings together in a really cool memory.
I love it.
Quick question. Can we please honor this person by saying their name?
His name was Michael Accord. Mike Accord, Lawn Mat Night. All right, Mike.
Bless.
Right on.
Thank you.
Well done.
Sorry about your last name.
Well done. Well done. So those are some favorite memories on video from our three historians. Let's hear the stories that they have to tell us. As I mentioned at the top of the show in the rules, we have three historians that are going to tell us three individual stories based off of the word video. And how it's going to work is going to be done over 3 rounds. Above my head, Adam's about to pop up the round tracker 9,000. There it is. And
there it is.
Round will get successively shorter. The first round will begin with 75 seconds. The second round will be 60 seconds. And the third round will be 45 seconds, which they can wrap up their story. And with that, let's just get right to it, shall we? Gina, I'm going to start with you in round number 1, Adam.
Let's do it.
All right, Gina.
In round number 1. Oh,
round 1.
this is where magic happens.
This is magic starts right here. Exactly. So, Gina, you're going to hear a boom, and you're going to see the little sundial come up. When that happens, you have 75 seconds to start us off.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Let me get the gunpowder here. Hang on. There we go.
Okay, so this story probably will make Chelsea very happy because it is partially about none other than Michael Jackson, and one of the most famous videos, if not the most famous video in the world. We can't do a video episode without mentioning the video Thriller, and I have a lot of trivia about it, and then one little piece of trivia that I found that I don't think many people know, and I will share that in the last round. The first round, however, will tell you a little bit about Thriller and the making of. So Thriller is a 14-minute and 7-second video that was aired in the 80s. And it was the first time. Videos were maybe a few minutes long, but this was the first feature-length full video. It actually even became a film because it was featured in the American Film Society and the British Film Society because of the length of it, and because they also added talking into the actual song. They added dialogue, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit if you haven't heard the song. I don't know of many people who haven't, but perhaps. And so one thing that is neat about this is that it was originally called Starlight. That was the original name of the song. The whole Thriller song was already ready, but the words and the mood hadn't been set yet. So it wasn't originally a horror story. It was a thing called Starlight, and I'll tell you more about how it came to be in the next few rounds.
All right, thank you very much, Gina. Let's hear what some of her fellow historians think of her opening round there. Chelsea, what did you think of Gina's opening on Michael Jackson and the Thriller video?
I don't know if she's trying to butter me up or what, because I did mention Michael Jackson in a previous history bluffs. The one thing I did feel like she ate up a lot of time, but I'm very interested in hearing the rest.
Okay, classic delay tactic there, perhaps, right? Kimberly, what do you think of Gina's opening story?
Uh-oh.
They didn't call it rap back then, though. For that, they just said that they wanted somebody speaking.
It's like, the Starlight thing just doesn't sound familiar to me, though. So I can't conceive of Thriller not being a horror.
So then I have 2 random pieces of information that you may not have known about Thriller.
All right, and we'll find out those in a succeeding round. Let's move on to Chelsea. Come out to the we'll put Chelsea in the main square there. And Chelsea, when you hear the boom and you see the sundial, you're going to have 75 seconds for your opening round, and the floor is yours.
All right, so you can't think of videos without thinking of music videos and MTV, Total Request Live, all of the history of music videos, because I'm your historianess of incest of pop. I'm your pop culture historian is what I try to say. So the first video to ever premiere on MTV was called Video Killed the Radio Star. You may or may not have heard it. So did video kill the radio star? Did video maybe kill a network? Maybe almost, maybe not quite. That's what we're going to dig in to that today. So MTV, of course, we all know that they started as a 24-hour platform for music videos, and they started multiple shows based on showcasing music videos, different artists, and even hired people called VJs or video disc jockeys to host these shows. And the fate of the network was so grim, they told the VJs to not buy permanent residences and to keep their second job.
Wow. Wow, that's talk about confidence from your bosses. Hey, we're going to hire you to do a job, but hey, don't quit your other job and maybe not live here.
Kurt freeloader.
Right.
Come on, that's gonna give me one.
Kimberly, what do you think of the opening round there from Chelsea?
Yeah, most of it, but the the fact that one song could have put everything in such disarray when that's the premise of the station, that doesn't seem right to me.
All right, Gina, what do you think?
Video killed the radio star being, but yeah, like the death knell to it. I don't buy it.
I know it's a great foreshadowing kind of a story, actually. So it's great foreshadowing. However, okay, so I'm not going to lie, and I'm hoping that other people in the studio audience also felt this, because then they'll understand. But like, honestly, when she said VJ, it did make me think of the other kind of videos, and it was like it threw me for a hot second.
Wait a
I
second.
was like, I don't know.
Oh no!
And I was like, I want that job, because like, what does one do? Do they analyze
This
it?
is
Do they
viewable by
announce it?
children, right?
Do they announce it, ladies and gentlemen, entering the room? Now we have like,
Gina,
or
it's
what is it
called color commentary.
Yes.
No.
My colors are pink and brown, I think.
Oh no! What?
Wow.
What?
Okay. All right. Well,
I've shared too much. I've shared too much. This lives in infamy, doesn't it?
I was going to say, did video kill the radio star? I'm not sure, but I know it definitely killed the careers of a lot of ugly singers when they had to go on video and do that.
There's a lot of pressure.
These were guys that were wildly popular in the 50s and 60s and 70s. All of a sudden, video came on, and everybody's like, "Whoa, I want to see that guy."
Yeah, dude. Meatloaf.
And then
Meatloaf.
HD came. I'm sorry. Yeah, Meatloaf.
Let's get our third story going here of the first round. Kimberly, we're going to put you in the main square. And when you hear the boom and see that sundial, you have 75 seconds for your opening round. Floor is yours.
Okay, so back in the 70s, back in 1975, the Betamax became one of the first home video things to market. It was designed by Dr. Nabatoshi Kihara, and it was one of the first affordable home video and commercially successful tapes for home use. Till this point, for the first time, you were actually able to record it in advance. You weren't beholden to watching everything live. You could stream it, watch it, whatever, but earlier. Betamax, shortly after Betamax, VHS entered the scene. A company called JVC introduced VHS, and it came along around 76, 77. It did not go the way they wanted to. It did not go as well as they had planned it. Very successful initially because Betamax had better sound. The resolution was a lot better. It was like 250 lines versus like 225 lines. Betamax was a lot smaller. It was just a smaller cartridge in general, so it was just doing a lot better. And the public wasn't buying it. But a company came along that changed all of that and actually ended up making VHS a home name, and that company was Walt Disney.
Ooh. Dropping the old Walt Disney bomb on us at the very end there. Nicely done indeed. Adam, just a quick housekeeping note. The round tracker 9,000 is a little off. We're done with the first round.
Oh my goodness! Thank you for the
spot
there we go. Appreciate
that.
And
then just one other, just a personal note. I'm going to say this is I love this topic and I love these stories already. However, I'm just going to add in real quick on a personal note. This is going to be for me the most depressing show that I'm involved in, only because I was there for the opening of Michael Jackson's Thriller. I was there for MTV launching, and I was there for the Betamax VHS war, and it makes me sad to think how old I am now.
Good thing you're not the judge, Chris.
But it makes me happy that all of our stories have credibility.
Welcome to History Bluffs, the story of Chris's life. Oh,
We have a teacher from it. Do you recognize this voice? Yeah.
So let's see. Exactly. So Gina, what do you think of Kimberly's opening about Betamax and VHS and the Disney bomb dropped at the end?
Oh.
Well, the Disney bomb was a good one because in my head I'm like, oh, that's brilliant because they released all of those videos very early on, and it's like, oh, that's brilliant. You make money that way. However, and I do remember the war between Beta and VHS. However, I don't know the story, not at all. And if I'm to believe Kim, that means that this is the story. But I don't know if I believe her yet. But she could be tricking me, and I feel so like out of control on this story in a good way that I'm excited to see more, but I also don't know if my leg is being pulled because that was a good drop with the Walt Disney if this is a bluff, because you got me. I was like, you fish hooked me right there.
So you're saying more information needed. All right, I get you. I get you. Chelsea, what'd you think?
I'm right there with Gina. I was like, story's kind of drawn out. Where's it going to go? It's kind of dead in the water. And then you threw Disney, and we thought about all of our VHS tapes of all of the Disney princesses that we all had. And yeah, so I want to see where this one goes. I'm skeptical still, but interested.
All right. So instead of TMI, you both are NMI. You need more information.
Yes.
Right.
I also would like to throw this out. If you're watching at home, think about it, and also for our historians, Chris and Adam. What was your first your first video that you rented that you played over and over and over again because you could, because it wasn't a thing before that. You couldn't do that. So think about it. Mine was Stripes. I could tell you that right off the top of my head because we watched it 100 times.
Transformers.
Nice.
The first season 1, episode 1. Absolutely.
Yes.
From Montgomery Ward Video. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Montgomery Ward, nice. Good callback. Sadly, I remember Montgomery Ward too. All right.
This is your life, Chris Berry.
Explaining every grade.
Let's move on, shall we?
Let's do it.
As life does.
Whoa.
Move on to round number 2.
Round 2, let's do it.
All right, Chelsea, we're going to start with you. We last left you with the MTV launch and did video kill the radio star, or did it kill a network? And we had the potentially temporary VJs in place. So we're going to have you pick up where you left off. When you hear the boom and you see the sundial, you have now 60 seconds in this shortened second round. Tell us the next leg of your story. The floor is yours.
So, did video kill the radio star? Seems like it may have done just the opposite. The host of the Total Request Live TRL, Carson Daly, he heard Eminem's song "My Name Is." MTV was not a fan of this. They thought it was going to flop. They were not a fan. So he said, "Let me bring this to TRL." And that song blew up. It soared to number 1. They had Eminem on TRL, and the rest for Eminem is history. They also had boy band rivalries at the time. They had NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, not just fighting to get popularity for themselves, but their fans calling in and having that audience participation and showing up outside of the studio. And it brought in a lot of callers, a lot of people on the 25th floor of the building had to close their windows hours before it went live because they were already there and already loud.
Too much noise. Too much noise from the street. Too much noise from the street in that instance, and Gina was there. Too much noise on your headphones from hearing some things that made you query her story a little bit.
Where did you go to school, Chelsea?
UCF.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. The reason being is that in the late 80s, UCF, the UCF football team got a noise cancellation penalty, and I just wanted to just say that it just rings a little bit suspicious that you went to UCF and you're using that as one of your story flag posts, if you will.
Never heard.
Ironically, because it was about a yellow flag being thrown and everybody booed. So, so it's interesting that there was a noise situation, and you went to UCF. Are you guys associating? I'm just saying that because Carlos isn't here.
That's true. Somebody has to.
Yeah, that's right. Kimberly, what do you think?
Well, I don't think that Eminem blew up because of Carson Daly. I think he was popular before that point. I think that it had already gained traction before he ever became a guest. So that doesn't seem likely to me, that he was a complete unknown, had been played, they didn't like it, and suddenly they did.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
So what is his name?
Yeah.
Marshall Mathers.
We'll never know. Oh. Well, that was easy.
He does end with...
Hence the Eminem.
Oh my gosh, I just...
Wait. Oh my God, I never knew that. Oh, son of a gun.
It was like the candy.
Well,
really?
He also liked little chocolate coated candy.
Oh my
He did, you know.
Oh, the W candy. Yeah,
His middle name is
We all
Norman.
just
hence
learned
the
something on History Plus.
I'm learning so much.
Adjourned. We're all smarter.
I'm learning at a geometric grade over here.
Now I'm less depressed than I was 5 minutes ago.
See,
All right, Kimberly, we're going to put you back up in the main box here, Kimberly. We're going to have you do your condensed second round down to 60 seconds. When you hear the boom and you see the sundial, the floor is yours.
All right. So back in the late 70s, early 80s, the Disney film, they were starting to kind of decline. They were losing a lot of revenue with their film. They'd switched more to live action, and it just wasn't as successful as they wanted it to be. They were trying to expand their markets, and so they wanted to go into the home video market more, but creating Betamax was just way too expensive, and they found out VHS was a lot cheaper. So even though Betamax was more popular, they wanted to corner the market. So they basically went to a lot of companies, and they were like, hey, we will give you exclusivity if you will only agree to this format. We will let you have our library, basically. And so because it was the Disney bump, a lot of companies were like, well, Disney is a big name. I want to use that. And they got the access. And that's how VHS started to overtake Betamax, even though Betamax was even better.
Nicely done. All right. So it became a question of higher quality, higher profits. Ooh. Gina,
Yeah.
what do you think of that story?
I think that we were being tested. You know how like when they put beta on your Google or something like that and that screws everything up? Like I feel like beta was doing that. It was expensive and it was, like didn't work as well and it was more and then Disney is like, oh yeah, like I feel like Disney is like, oh, beta Google, I'll beat you. Like and they went and they got VHS. However, that said, my question then becomes because I remember beta, but I don't remember it being better than VHS. That was the one thing in her story that I was like, I don't know. I remember beta being more complicated, but then again, I don't know.
Chelsea, what do you think?
I feel like I was expecting more information in round 2, and I think we may have been catfished. So I'm calling Kimberly the bluff.
Oh.
That's the other kind of fish hook, the catfish.
Pull us in, try to reel us in there. Yep.
wow.
And I will say, Gina, yeah, beta was the more the aesthetically pleasing one, but VHS was the more popular one. So interesting. There's a lot of so far we have good bits of information in all of the stories, and that could be reeling us in with some good information. And we're just waiting to hear what that's going to. The rug's going to be pulled out from us by somebody. But Gina, we still have your story in round number 2, so we want to hear the second leg of your story with Michael Jackson and Thriller. Please begin when you hear the boom and see the sundial.
These are going to be a bunch of facts, and in the last round, I'll tell you the most intriguing part of the story. So Michael Jackson was a Jehovah's Witness, and he when the idea was pitched to him to do Thriller in the style of a horror kind of almost movie, vignette, he was a little concerned about it, and he put a disclaimer on the video at the top that said, "Due to my strong personal convictions, I wish to stress that this film is in no way endorses a belief in the occult." So he was very big on that, and then he said he would do it, and then he did. So he hired. Well, actually, he wanted to produce the video himself, but he got a guy named John Landis who had done An American Werewolf in London to help him finance the video. Now, there is a sting in the American Werewolf in London musical track, the soundtrack that actually matches one that is in Thriller because it was done by the same artist. Also, John Landis's wife was one of the Thriller zombies, as was Janet Jackson, and they featured her in there. Also, John Landis's wife made the red Michael Jackson jacket.
Ooh. Kimberly, what did you think of Gina's second round of the story there with all those details? As she clearly indicated at the very top, I'm going to throw out a bunch of details, and she did.
No quotes.
I am a big fan of Thriller, like huge. Vincent Price. I know the Thriller inside and out. If I hear it playing in a theme park, I will stop what I'm doing. True story. and do the Thriller.
And dance.
I know a lot.
We all do this.
Yeah, and down to all of it.
Wow.
Various versions. Where everything at the top sounded right, but the director's wife also being the costume creator and being a dancer, because that's a pretty high skilled level of choreography for an entire group in that getup. And I don't know if someone would that casually be able to do all the things, especially if they're the wife of the director. That's it's not Jenny.
Well, maybe she was a dancer because she was trying to make adjustments to the jacket as he was already dancing, and she had to go along with him and while she was doing stuff.
Don't help her, Chris.
Chelsea, what do you think?
We got a little my brother's, sister's, cousin's, uncle. I don't know.
Jeez, okay.
Very, very succinctly well put. That is a valid point. And I also love that, she said, a guy named John Landis. John Landis was a very big director at the time. And
I didn't know that.
Yes,
No people would know people.
All right. Well, Adam, let's take a look. There it is, confirming for me that round 2 is now complete. So we have Michael Jackson in the Thriller video, 14 minutes long. John Landis and his wife doing the jacket and dancing as a zombie. We have Chelsea with the MTV Video Music launch with Video Killed the Radio Star and the VJs who told, hey, don't quit your day job and don't buy a house here because, we might have some other things coming. And then we have Eminem and NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. And then we move to Kimberly, and she has 1975, the launch of Betamax, and it was higher quality than VHS. But Disney came in and flexed its corporate muscles and started using their, the negotiating tactic of, hey, buy our stuff, not theirs. And they put basically, they took control of the market. So very interesting story so far. Let us go, Adam, to hear the conclusions. We need to move to round number 3.
Let's do it.
So we are indeed at round number 3. This means it's the concluding round. So we're going to hear the conclusions of all 3 stories. Each historian now is reduced to 45 seconds in time to complete their story. So we're going to hear your wrap-up round. Exactly. It is gasping. It's gasp-worthy.
It's a short round.
Seconds. It's a short round. 45 seconds to tell your story. So we're going to start with Kimberly. Kimberly, we're going to have you be first in this round, and you have 45 seconds when you hear the boom.
Cool. All right, so VHS just really took off. Disney's gamble worked. They started to infiltrate the home video market, and the popularity of their at-home collection with their other stuff started to grow and grow and grow until you had that really infamous collection in 90s, where it was just everybody knows those iconic video covers on VHS. They just decimated everybody else, and they owned the market because they bought everybody out by being very cheap. Also, they by Betamax, even though it was better, people didn't care because they had the familiar, and Disney got what they wanted, basically. By 1987, 90 to 95% of home video things were VHS.
Wow.
And not Betamax.
That is called cornering the market. In just over 20 years, they went from launching, actually not even existing, to taking over the market. Gina, what did you think of that?
Well, I think that VHS killed the Betamax star. I think that's horrible. It did, though. I do remember that portion of the story, so I don't know the rest of it. Kim is tricky right now. Is this your first show, Kim?
Yes.
Okay, so you are doing great because you're tricking me. So that's all. I'm done.
And just for the record, it's her first show as a historian. She's been a judge before. So.
That's true.
Oh, I got you.
True.
Chelsea, what did you think of Kimberly's story?
She had me going until she did say Betamax was better. And I don't see Disney taking the cheap way out. So I'm skeptical.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah. Huh.
Not big on alliteration, Chelsea. She doesn't think beta's better. So, Gina,
Yeah.
Gina, we're going to pull you up to the main square here, and we're going to hear your concluding 45-second round. Gina, tell us what happened with Michael Jackson, and when you hear the boom, the sound, the floor is yours.
Okay, so the other part about this that I found interesting more than anything was that so they did Vincent Price did a monologue at the end, like a really deep voiced. He was he had hosted a few shows that were like horror, like spooky in nature. So he was very infamous in the spooky world, right? And so they hired him to come and do the voiceover, the secret of the Thriller, all the things to make it really good, to make Thriller, the ending of Thriller, great. But did you know that while there were 2 stanzas in the final cut of Thriller, there actually were 3 written? The guy who wrote the entire monologue that Vincent Price did it in the taxi cab on the way over. Now, Vincent Price was on set and knew he was going to do it, and he landed it in 2 takes. But it wasn't originally part of the original story. So there's a whole another verse. And if you want, I can quote it for you.
No, we do not want you to quote it for us. We have
I just wanted to but that's a really cool part I found out.
We have a show to wrap, and some of us have flights to catch next month, so we're going to say no.
There's only one verse. Aren't you intrigued?
So, Kimberly, what did you think of Gina's conclusion there?
I almost believe you. It's that I'm such a big fan that third verse thing doesn't ring true. Like, I've never heard of that, because the rest of it does, but then it's this other thing and we never heard of it. Like, the internet 2023, Vincent Price, we'd have access, but that's just not familiar to me. So that's the only thing.
And he passed away, so we can't ask him.
It's almost as if we needed the Seinfeld series to do an episode on the third verse. That's the question. Chelsea, what did you think of that story from Gina?
When Gina was like, "Oh, there's another. Oh, I can quote it too," and I was like, "Oh, I want to hear it," and she's like, "But there's no time," and I was like, "Oh, how you run out of time?
How convenient!
How about that?
All right. Well, who's not out of time? Chelsea's not out of time, because Chelsea has to conclude her story. So we're going to bring Chelsea
it's called
to the
strategy.
main square. Chelsea, you're going to have 45 seconds to wrap up your story, and the clock is going to start when you hear the boom, and the floor is yours.
Okay, so video did not kill the radio star, but music videos almost killed the network. They had competition at VH1, BET. People were changing the channel if they didn't like a video, which would avoid viewership during commercials. So things were sinking. They stuck to what they did really well, which was reality television, because as we all know, the Real World was pioneer in reality television. So they said, buy music, stuck to this reality television. So video didn't kill the network necessarily. The music videos almost did, but Rob Dyrdek's ridiculousness, short clip videos, make him $150,000 per episode at 336 episodes a year. Profit.
Wow. Kimberly, what did you think of that conclusion, Kimberly?
I don't think that video killed the network, because for a good 20 years, like up till the aughts, they were really still playing music videos. It was kind of like reality killed the video star. That's why it was MTV, not RTV at the time. And I know people have very strong feelings on this either way. But with the introduction of that,
yes,
because MTV went straight to just doing non-scripted stuff, and a lot of great stuff from the 80s through the 2000s. Just, you have to look it up now because it wasn't showing it. I don't know if that was what did it in, or if it was just another decision. So I don't know.
Some murky waters there to navigate. Gina, what do you think?
Well, I think that at the very, very, very end, right before the buzzer, she threw in a couple of names and money and stuff like that had not been mentioned before. So I was like, did she just forget that part of the story, or is she just trying to really make it seem legitimate now with some figures and some facts? And so it was just like, I don't even know who the guy was that she mentioned at the end. It was like, it came from left field, and I just like, threw me, if I'm being honest. But
Kinda like
on
a
this
third
particular,
verse.
what's that?
Said kind of like a third verse.
Oh.
Damn. Okay, well, I mean, I'm flattered because you're taking strategy from my notes.
All right. Well,
Damn, Chelsea.
You did tell her to take the strategy. You told her.
I did. I have.
yes,
Literally.
indeed. She takes notes well.
That's true.
All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to decipher who among our three historians that we all think is the bluff for this week.
True. The
I don't
tracker's
know.
full. The tracker's
Exactly.
full.
The tracker is full. Adam is the only one who knows.
Oh, yeah, I do.
We're going to review real quick. Is it going to be, which of our historians is going to be the bluff? So, Gina, let us hear your rationale. Who do you think is the bluff?
Okay, I mean, I was gonna say Kim because I honestly, I know that VHS beat Betamax, but I didn't feel the timeline fit. But that's just me. But now I'm gonna say Chelsea because she did use my strategy, and that is what I do when I'm bluffing. And so I was like,
Whoa.
this is like, let's save a really fun part at the end until the end, and let's throw a lot of facts at it and see if it sticks and is it interesting. However, it was not as intriguing as I would have liked it to be. So I'm because I was like, that feels forced, and the rest of it didn't even connect maybe in my head. So I'm gonna go with Chelsea because I think she missed the beat. Yeah.
All right, there's a vote from Chelsea. Chelsea, let's have you tell us who do you think is the bluff?
I'm gonna say Kimberly is the bluff because of again, Gina's cheering makes me second guess myself. However, with Disney, just the all-powerful Disney, I would have wanted some more information in there if that was actually true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Kimberly, who do you think is the bluff?
I think, Gina just a lot. Like I said, I really know Thriller and Vincent Price a lot.
Do you?
And wow, yeah. Oh, that's one of my nerddoms. Yeah, but that third verse, thing, even though I haven't heard of it, I can see how that's true. But Chelsea lost me in the end with the music videos killed the network when we know that they continued for another 20-something years. So
Yeah, call me after the show and I'll tell you how you do that tagline a little better, and it'll be.
Oh, man.
We're calling
Kimberly.
Chelsea as the bluff.
Knives her.
Kimberly's calling Chelsea as the bluff. All right.
Okay.
So that gives us, my math is correct, Adam. That gives us 2 votes for Chelsea and 1 vote for Gina, correct?
Think so. I lost track. I was doing tech.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I'm playing a whole
Oh, wait.
orchestra back
We
here.
all did
Chelsea,
one.
you said Kimberly.
I said Kimberly.
Oh,
yeah.
right. And then,
You'll
and then
throw
Gina,
them both in there.
Wait a second.
Wait, all right. Kimberly was accused by Chelsea.
Yes, I
Kimberly
accused
accused Chelsea. And Gina, who did you accuse?
Chelsea.
Chelsea. So Gina is
Wow.
calling Gina. No one called Gina the bluff.
Fascinating.
Oh yeah, no.
We all
Uh-oh.
want it to be true. We all want more.
You all wanted more to be true. So Adam, just to even the playing field, even though I don't get a vote, I'm actually going to lean towards Gina as the bluff.
Wow.
There's just some pieces missing in that story. But I don't get a
Well,
vote.
if you're in the lean.
Let's find out who the actual bluff is. Adam, I'm going to hand it off to you to take it away.
All right, let's do it. We have 3 prospective bluffs. Do you think it was Gina? Or was your bluff Chelsea? Or could your bluff have been Kimberly? I will reveal it now. The bluff. The whole time, it was Kimberly.
Oh, you sneaky one.
It was sneaky-rific. Almost got away scot-free. Not quite.
Well done.
Very well played with the wall.
Do we have time for Gina's third verse?
Do we have time, Adam?
No, we don't. We'll do that after the show.
Would you like
Well
to hear
done,
it?
everyone. Really fun show. And Kimberly, nicely done. Chelsea, good deduction of Kimberly being the bluff.
Yep, good work.
I
Good
do
work
think
all
it's
around.
interesting that you think Disney would never be cheap like that.
Very interesting indeed.
Didn't
very
they do that with
interesting indeed.
Land in the 70s?
Yeah, well, they did it with a lot of things, and we are, but we're not passing judgment. The judgment part is over. We are going to hand it back to Adam because we are done with today. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week on another episode of History Bluffs. Adam, take us away.
You got it, Chris. Thank you. This has been History Bluffs. You've learned something. I've learned something. Follow us on YouTube and Twitch. Get us where your podcasts are. We'll see you next time.
Now, Adam, now.
The demons squeal in sheer delight. It's you they spy, so plump, so right. For though the groove is hard to beat, yet still you stand with frozen feet. You try to run, you try to scream, but no more sun you'll ever see. For even reaches from the crypt to crush you in its icy grip.